type of training. Let me open up here. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to our latest installment of Ask the Broker. My name is Joseph Miranda, broker and owner of Miranda Executive Realty. Today, we're going to be talking about business planning. But before we do, let's jump into our normal shameless plug here. If you're an agent visiting and you want to learn more about our company and what we can do to help you grow your business, or if you're an agent with our office and you just want to share more information about our company, there is a QR code. You can feel free to share that with anyone and everyone, absolutely. So that being said, let's go ahead and take care of some disclaimers. So I'm a broker, owner of the company, been selling real estate for, in my opinion, a very long time, but that's where my knowledge and expertise ends. You know, I've done a lot of coaching. I've gone to a lot of coaching, received a lot of coaching, training, mentoring, you name it. I've really been through it. But, you know, everything here is really just my best practices. It's my opinions. You know, it's the way that, you know, that I work. So for anything that sounds like legal advice or financial advice or otherwise, we always recommend to seek proper counsel. So now that our disclaimer is out of the way, let's go ahead and jump into it. So, all right, let me see. I believe everybody in this call, you should see in the in-call messages a link. You can, you know, if you're on a computer, it's easy enough. You can copy the link and split your screen here. But what we're trying to do here is create a questionnaire that you'll fill out the questionnaire. And then this, as you go through, I think there's about seven pages. We'll probably be adding on a little bit as we go through. As you go through this, in the questionnaire, it's going to start filling things in for you automatically. So we're trying to kind of, you know, simplify things, make things a lot easier. I know that sometimes, you know, business plans can be overwhelming, to say the least. So, you know, we're trying to simplify this. And then what we're going to do is that's going to be today's, where you're just entering data. And then on at the next Ask the Broker, which is going to be 2 weeks from today, it's Thanksgiving Tuesday, we may move that around. Let me see. But at that next one, you know, we're going to talk about some of these metrics and you know, how to kind of reverse engineer them and help, you know, kind of figure out how to make these work, and also, you know, tools and other things that you can implement to do it. So, all right, let's jump into it. What we've got here is, well, we've got page one, right? Page one is very simple. You're going to fill out your full name. Is there anybody here that has this open? Like anybody that's kind of following along, or are you guys just gonna probably watch this for now? Or does nobody want to answer? All right, nobody will answer. All right, well, we'll just all assume everybody's following along. So, first and last name.
I joined by phone, so.
Okay, yeah, that's okay. Just follow along. You can grab the link here if you can't grab the link in the in-call messages. Don't worry about it. We can, you know, everybody that's here, we're going to send you an email with this link, and you do this at your own time. But I think if you watch this, if you just watch here, ask any questions as we go along. You can raise your hand or whatever if you have any questions, or put it in the messages, and, you know, we can answer them. But I think it's going to be pretty simple because it's really just filling it in. I think this one actually should go pretty quick. So page one, it's all of your information: name, email address, and phone number. We do need those. I mean, you could put a fake name. The email address, the reason you need to put your email address is because this is just a questionnaire. And what this is going to do is it's filling out a form for you, and it's doing the formulas, the math, it's doing everything for you. And then at the end, when you hit send, it's going to send you an email for that. So we do need that information. All right. So whatever your name is, let's, you know, go ahead and fill out, you know, John Smith. your email. I don't know. We can put my email here. Irene, I think maybe you got to fill this out. I'm not sure. So yeah, so we'll go ahead and we'll figure out Irene's goals and in her dreams here as she fills this out. All right, let's see. Let me fill. Okay, and then you go to next. Where did I mess up here? I think I messed up that. No hyphens in your phone number. I see. There we go. And check that. Good enough. All right, up next. So unless you've been sleeping under a rock, you should be familiar with AI. So we started out, and ChatGPT was kind of the big name in AI. Everybody's familiar with ChatGPT. The agents of this office, your email account is upgraded with the AI. You should see the little sparkly magic wand icon up in the corner. Whatever you're in, if you click that, that's Gemini, right? So that will pretty much help you in whatever app that you're in inside here. So what we're recommending, because AI speaks so eloquently, is that you ask AI to help you create your 10-year business vision. These five questions here, or 5 statements, you're going to open them up. And I'm always polite to AI, because if AI ever takes over, I want them to see me as a good guy. So I always say, hello, how are you? And then I say, I need you to do something for me. So you would go to Gemini and start talking to Gemini, and you'd say, and you can take these prompts that we've created here, or what you can do is you can tell Gemini, ask me 10 questions that I can answer that will help me figure out my 10-year business plan vision, right? Or you could say 5 years, right? It doesn't need to be 10. It could be 1 year, right? So this is the first thing that you need. You need to have that 10-year vision for what you want to do, right? So take those prompts if you like, or ask Gemini to fill those out. Once you get your business vision kind of created inside Gemini, or once you get all of these filled out inside Gemini, you're just going to hit enter, and Gemini should kick out. I don't know if this is going to work here, because not all the questions are done, but here you go right here, right? So it's going to kick out a very well written, very eloquent vision statement for you. You take this vision statement, you copy it, right? And then you're going to go back to the business plan, and you're going to paste that in there, right? So right there, Control V, boom, there it is, right? You now have your AI generated business vision, right? So up next, your 10-year personal vision. So this is personal, right? Because we always talk about separating business from personal. So, not only should you have your real estate should fund your dreams, right? Real estate is something that, real estate is not necessarily, your career as a real estate agent, or some people it's a side hustle, or it's a second income, but it should really fund your vision for your perfect life, whether that's to travel, whether that's to invest, whether that's to get, passive income, whatever it is, but same thing, you're going to copy these 5 prompts. And if you don't want to use these 5 prompts, you don't have to. Again, you can always go back to Gemini, and you can say, Gemini, ask me 10 questions that I will, answer. Obviously, you have to answer them. Ask me 10 questions that will help, that will create my personal vision for the next 10 years. right? And then once you hit that, it's going to ask you 10 questions. And usually what I do is when it asks those 10 questions, I will copy those and I'll paste those into there, right? So career and purpose, relationships, community, growth and identity. So it kind of breaks them down for you. You could say 20 questions, right? You could say 25 questions, right? Like you could say as many questions as you want to make this as comprehensive, or you could say 5 questions. It doesn't matter, right? This is your own personal. What there's no one formula that's going to work perfectly for everybody. So, you know, what we're trying to show you is, you know, the writing mission statements and writing vision statements, it used to take hours. I remember writing mission statements and, you know, not really knowing a direction, or, you know, does this sound right? It doesn't sound good. Now with AI, we use Gemini. You can use, you know, ChatGPT. It doesn't matter who you use. To me, it's probably all one big brain anyway. It doesn't matter who you use, but just use AI to refine your own thinking and to take your thoughts and put them in a way that reads eloquently. So when somebody reads it, you know, it's coherent, right? And then once you finish that, it's going to be the next thing, right? Your 5-year goals, right? So what's your 5-year goals? And again, these are recommendations of what you can use. Again, you're going to just copy and paste this if you want to go off of our recommendations, or you can say, Gemini, help me craft some goals for the next 5 years. Right? Ask me 10 questions that would help me craft goals in the next 5 years. If there's goals that you know that you want included in there, you can tell them, include goals like travel, include goals like investment properties, include goals like, owning a Ferrari, like whatever it is. You're going to ask AI to ask you questions, or you take the 5 prompts that we put in there, or you make your own prompts. It doesn't matter, but at the end of the day, my opinion, let AI write it for you. Tell AI what you want, and let AI come back, give you the answer. Once it gives you the answer, what do? You're going to copy it, you're going to paste it, and you're going to put it into the, where you want it to be. Now, vision is great, right? So vision is the big overarching, right? It's your vision. It's what you see for yourself in your business, in your personal life, right? Your goals, right? But a vision is no good without what? Without a mission. So now what you're going to do is you're going to do that same thing. Your mission statement will drive you to your business, right? So make sure that as you're writing your mission statement, or that you are, writing it, figure out what's important, right, for your mission, right? Your mission as a real estate agent, you can write a personal mission statement. You can write as many different mission statements as you want. Again, same thing. You don't have to use these prompts. Just tell Gemini what you want. Right? Ask me 15 questions and help me craft a mission statement for what? For my business, for my life, for my family, right? Does your family have a mission statement? All of these different areas, if you're in a church group, does your church group have a mission statement? Maybe it should, right? So these are things that, that you can do, and now it's a lot easier. Why? Because AI is going to do a lot of these things for you. So, and then last but not least, on this page is going to be your 5 core values. Again, do whatever you want. I don't really care. My opinion, you should use AI. And this one, maybe you just want to Google it, right? What are your core values? Integrity, honesty, service, What are the things, so you've got, so by the end of this, right, you're going to have, yourself, you're going to be in the middle, and then you're going to have, your vision, your mission, and your values. Any legitimate business should have a vision for itself. There should be a mission to help you get to the vision, and you should have values that drive the way that you work, right? You've got to have values. You've got to have things that help you make your decisions easier, right? Because if you say that you're always going to work with integrity, then that helps to drive the decisions that you make on a day-to-day basis. You said you're going to do it, so you should do it, right? You said that, one of your core values is honesty. And you don't have to have 5 core values. You can have 10 core values. You can have 20 core values, right? We're just saying 5 here. But you honestly, I mean, this is all, the questions are there, but you can put whatever answer you want. If you can't, if you're going through these and, you're seeing more core values that you want, then, choose more, right? Once you're done with this, anyway, this one only 2, integrity, and Irene only cares about integrity and passion. That's all she cares about. She cares about anything else. So we go to next, right? When you go to the next one, big question, drive. What drives you? I always hear, or a lot of times you go to these trainings and they always talk about find your why or your big why, right? And the big one that I always hear is family, right? I always hear that. But what I would challenge you to do would be to ask yourself, why is it my family, right? And then maybe it goes a little bit deeper and you say, well, I grew up in a single parent household, and this parent wasn't there, or this happened in my life, and it really makes me I want my children to have a different experience. Okay, so why do you want your children to have a different experience, right? And it may drive all the way down to something that you really didn't even expect, right? I love my family. My family is not what drives me. I know that much about myself, right? My family is not what drives me. There's something else that drives me, and it took a lot. It took going through finding my why, time after time after time after time, and always saying family, 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 family. I believe for most people, it's not really your family that drives you. Maybe it is. I'm not here to argue, not here to debate. This is just my opinion, that if the first thing that comes to your mind is what drives me is my family, well, you should ask yourself, well, why does your family drive you? And whatever that reason is, ask yourself, why is it that reason? And what'll happen by continuing to ask why, you may not get the answer right now, right? But over time, it'll become clear in your head. Like sometimes I wake up and it's like, aha, right? Because your mind works on problems while you sleep. And sometimes you'll wake up and you'll be like, that's what that is. Okay, I see what that is. Very cool, right? And then when you figure it out, it'll all make sense. Again, you want to go to Chat GPT or Gemini, you can ask it, right? Ask me 10 questions to help me figure out what drives me. Maybe they can help you figure that out. I believe for most people, the surface level answer is probably family, but the deeper answer is going to help you understand yourself and what truly drives you. And by knowing what truly drives you, that's going to help pull you through, right, when things start to get a little bit tough. And it's going to help you understand yourself a little bit better and understand what makes you tick, right? What are goals without accountability? Be honest with yourself here, right? So these are things that can maybe help you. These are things that we do in our company. And if you are honest with yourself, are these things that might help you? Maybe they will, maybe they won't. You're not going to hurt our feelings, I'll tell you what, do I pop in the lobby room? If that one's a no, or do I reach out to my broker? If that one's a no, that should be a yes. Those are the two biggest things that you can do on there, right? That's taking advantage of the support, you know, that we have. What sets me apart as a real estate agent? So what makes you better? Why are you, you know, if you're, what this is doing is helping you, again, to create clarity. Because once you have clarity, then you can shift, right? You could be on a listing appointment, you could be with the buyer, you could be doing a presentation, you could be talking, you know, to somebody, but it's helping you really to think about and figure out, okay, you know, it's giving you clarity around who you are and why you're different. What sets you apart as a real estate agent? What is it? Right? Why are you, when you're on a listing appointment, why are you the best choice? Well, you're a brand new agent, only ever sold one house in your entire career. Why would they choose you over, you know, the other agent that's coming in that sells 35 houses a year? What sets you apart? What makes you better? You need to know this, right? What drives your approach to real estate? Again, these are questions you can ask AI, ChatGPT. Doesn't matter. What do I want to specialize in? Everybody says luxury. Everybody wants the $1 million listing. I get it. That's the luxury listings. Yeah, I love them too, right? But if everybody sold luxury, then who would sell the other houses? For me, my specialty was investment properties. That was my specialty. I understand investment. I've done it. I speak the language. So, you know, you find one thing and you become pretty good at it, and then, you know, maybe you want to move on to something else. But, you know, but I don't know, maybe not. If that one thing works for you, then why necessarily would you, you know, would you feel like you need to change it? You know, maybe you don't, maybe you would need to change it. And then your niche, right? Again, kind of an area that you specialize in. But, you know, but what's your strength, right? How can you take that area that you specialize in and maybe make it a little bit smaller? Investment, real estate, but maybe you just want to work with, you know, landlords. I don't know. You know, maybe you want to work with, you know, people that are flipping. I don't know, you know, but figure out, what do you like to do? Okay. All right. Next, some of you will probably hate me for this, and you can replace the words here: prospecting, cold calling, warm calling, following up. Right? What is a prospector? A prospector is a miner. He's somebody that's got the pickaxe and he's out there looking for what? Looking for gold. Right? That's what a prospector is. So when you're prospecting, you're looking for gold. Maybe it's dialing. Maybe it's not, right? Maybe you farm and you want to go door knocking. Maybe you're networking. You know, how many hours are you doing networking? Now this says annual total. So what I would say is 250 business days in a year, or 250 working days in a year. So if you're going to prospect 1 hour a day, whatever that looks like to you, just put 250, right? So 250 prospecting hours. If you want to prospect for 2 hours a day, 500. 3 hours a day, 750, right? And how many dials, right? So how many dials, which means, doesn't mean answers, doesn't mean, you know, leads, just how many dials. How many times did you pick up the phone? 954 123 4 5 6 7 8, right? 9, 7, I don't know, whatever. How many times did you actually do that annually? So let's say you say, well, I'm willing to make up to 50 dials per day, right? Well, 250, so that's 25,000. 250, that's what, 100 a day, I think, I don't know. So 100 a day, perfect, 25,000. Perfect, so we're gonna make 25,000, right? Dials per year, that sounds like a lot, but when you break it down, it's really not that many. How many actual contacts? So out of those 250,000, and if you don't cold call, you may not know, right? But I would say, let's say you get 10%. 10% are actual contacts, right? So that would be 2,500 annual contacts. And how many of those contacts are you going to turn into appointments, right? So out of 2,500 contacts, maybe you get 10% of those. You'd be doing pretty darn good. You'd have 250 appointments. That's almost one per day on the days that you're calling. That would be pretty amazing. So those numbers might be a little inflated. As you're going through, if they feel like big numbers, go back and adjust them, right? How many were buyer's consultations, right? So how many, maybe it's another 10%. You had 250 that turned into buyer's consultations. And listing agreements. Let's say you're pretty decent at it, right? And, maybe you get, what, 10%? So, yeah, 10% would be, what, 25? So, pretty good, right? And then contracts written, right? So contracts written means that means it's the as is. You received it as a listing agent or you wrote it as the buyer's agent. So, you've got 25. So yeah, let's say 20, right? And how many closed? Maybe you've got a good close rate. Let's say you closed 18 of them, right? 90% closing rate, right? Sales volume annually. So what's the total volume that you want to sell or that you did sell in 2025, right? I don't know what that number is. Is that 30 million? So that's a big number, right? Or maybe that's 300,000. 3 million. 3 million. Okay, there it is. So $3 million. All right, GCI. So what I'll tell you is most people don't get 3% commission, right? Most people's average commission is not 3%. You can go the lazy route and just assume that you're going to get that, or you can know what your actual commission rate is if you're with us. So out of 3 million, you ended up with $75,000 GCI. And then units closed, company leads annually. So yeah, so you got 5. So now you're just going to break these down, right? Social media annually, 2. Geo leads. And if you don't do these, put 0. You're like, well, I don't geo farm. Well, then just put a 0, right? Maybe I'll get 1 at an open house, right? You should be receiving referrals. Now, the holy grail in a real estate lead are referrals and past clients. If you can get a healthy balance of referral customers and past clients, I think you're doing pretty well, right? That's your best thing. Once you close, don't forget about your customers, man. Don't forget about your customers. You've got to keep in close contact with your customers. So don't forget about your customers. Next one, let's go to the next page. Targeted sales volume. So this is our goal. 2026. How much volume, which means your total sales. So now we want to what? We want to double. We want to double our business. Real estate might be one of the only industries where you can double your income year over year. It's not easy. But it's certainly possible, right? Real estate, you definitely can double your income over a year. You could, if you had 2 sales in 2025, there's literally no reason why you can't have 4. Literally no reason, right? All right, now these are personal. All right, next questions. SWOT. We're going to do a SWOT analysis. SWOT, right? This is where you're going to figure out your strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. So this isn't something maybe you don't need to ask these questions for yourself. Maybe, again, you can use ChatGPT, right? If nothing else, you can take these and just type them in quickly, right? So what are your strengths, right? And maybe they're not here necessarily, the question that answers your strengths are not there, right? Fill it in. Just what are your strengths? And then go to the next one, and go to your weaknesses. So, weaknesses, don't spend a lot of time on your weaknesses because, a lot of people want to, strengthen their weakness. They want to make their weakness stronger. when I believe in reality, you should play to your strengths. You know, you can strengthen your weaknesses. You can, you can work on your weakness to make it not so much of a weakness. But, a bird should fly and a fish should swim. And some birds can swim, but they're probably not as good as swimmers as fish. Some fish can fly. Some fish can fly, but not for very long, right? They're just kind of jumping out of the water, and they've got long fins or something that look like wings, but they're not flying like a bird. So, in my opinion, the weaknesses, these are just kind of things that maybe you should try to avoid them. But the first thing I would do would be to make my strong muscles stronger, and maybe just not use my weak muscles so much. Later on, you want to strengthen your weak muscles, that's okay. But your strengths are, like for myself, for example, one of the reasons that I specialized in investment real estate is because that's a strength that I have, that for me, it's experience and, not just theory. With myself having the personal experience as an investor, flipping and rentals, I can speak the language. I know the pitfalls. I've been through some of the best and some of the worst times as an investor. So I can speak with experience. If I didn't have the investment experience, it would be, if I'm talking about investing, it's probably theory. I took a training somewhere, or I read a book somewhere, or I know somebody who does it, or somebody told me that this is how it works. But until you've actually done it and experienced it, it's theory. It's like riding a bike. I use the bike riding analogy a lot, right? Until you've actually ridden a bike, you can't really know what it's like. So if you don't know how to ride a bike, you probably shouldn't be writing a book on how to ride a bike, because you won't have that experience. And probably somebody who does have that experience is going to suss you out and say, well, this person doesn't even have experience riding a bike. So, focus on your strengths. What are these areas? If you don't have the investment experience, then maybe don't try to grow yourself into investments, right? If you're patient and consistent, what type of person is that? Maybe a patient and consistent person would, work more with, empty nesters. And that's what you want to try to find, right? Your weaknesses, condo docs and not closing contracts. So condo docs, well, don't go selling condos, right? Not closing contracts, well, you probably need to pop in the lobby and talk to your broker a little bit more if that's the case. So, and then opportunities. And so looking back at your strengths, looking at your weaknesses, knowing what you're gonna run towards your strengths, and you're gonna run away from the weakness. What are opportunities inside that? Again, ChatGPT, Gemini, some sort of AI is going to be very helpful with that. And then finally, threats. What are threats? And it's not always, the other agent. It's not like, oh, I want a geo farm and there's somebody already dominating the neighborhood that I want to geo farm. That's not a threat. That's stupidity, right? So don't go into a geo farm with somebody who's, been in a neighborhood for 35 years and they already dominated. Why would you want to take them head to head? Go find another one, right? Your weakness there is like, well, you didn't think that one all the way through. And that's why it's a threat, because you made that a threat. Don't go looking for threats. These are actual threats that are in your life. Yeah, like slow market, right? Legal issues, right? Whatever it is, what do you see as a threat? If you don't know, ChatGPT, Google Gemini, right? Doesn't matter. Just go in and do that. All right? All right, now let's plan some numbers. Let's create a budget. Have you ever created a budget? This is not even really a budget. This is just putting some numbers on a piece of paper here. Think about how much you want to spend per month. This is for 2026, right? How much do you want to spend per month on marketing in 2026? $100 a month? $200 a month? Right? Oh, this is annually. Sorry. So figure out monthly and times 12. right? Leads. Are you going to buy leads? Marketing is not the same as leads. Marketing should get you leads or get you at least some publicity, but you want to just buy leads, right? You should have a salary. Do you have a salary? Just because you're 1099 and somebody didn't write you an offer letter that's guaranteeing to pay you a certain salary, shouldn't you still pay yourself a salary? Shouldn't you still have some sort of regular pay? I feel like you should, because how do you plan your life? If you don't have a salary, how do you plan your life? If you get a big $20,000 commission, that's a perfect time to plan your salary. $20,000, and maybe you got $5,000, you need to pay off some debts, you got $15,000 left, divided by 12, pay that out to yourself over time throughout the entire year. Don't take it all at once and go buy a BMW. Well, you're not going to get a very nice one. Maybe it's a down payment. I don't know. But I'm just saying, figure out how to, and if you're not on a salary, if it's 2025, today, November 11, 2025, and you don't have a salary, then by 2026, you should figure out a salary for yourself. Because that's the only way you're going to find consistency in your life. If you're a real business owner, your employee should have a salary. If it's just you, then you are the employee. You're the CEO and the employee. You're wearing every hat. Pay yourself a salary. Divide. Don't just take your money, put it in the bank, and spend it when you think that you want to. Because when you do that, right, you fail to plan. You plan to fail. If you're going to have $20,000 sitting in your checking account, you're going to feel rich, right? I don't know if YouTube allows me to say this. They probably do, but I took a training one time. They call it rich bitch syndrome, where you get a bunch of you get a big commission check, you put it all in your checking account, and it's all there. And every time you go to buy something, the money's there, so you just buy it. Until eventually, what happens? You spent all that money, and now you're poor, right? That's why you go through the real estate roller coaster, because you go through rich bitch syndrome. You make all this money and you stop working. You make all this money and you keep spending, right? You're not working because you're making all this money, right? And you're spending because you're making all this money, but pretty soon the work dries up. Why? Because you're not working, but you're still spending, so the money also dries up. You have to have a plan for that. Savings. Do you save? Savings and reserves. Because again, we're a business. A real estate agent is a legitimate business. If you don't have a PA, you should. We did a training on it. You should definitely have a PA. If you don't, ask yourself why not, because you're missing out on some tax benefits that come with having a PA. The PA gets registered on DVPR. That is now the licensed entity. So now your broker can pay your corporation directly. If you have an LLC, I can't pay your corporation. I can't pay your LLC. Rich Bitch LLC, I can't pay that, right? John Smith, PA, Realtor, registered with DVPR, I can pay that, and now you pick up all of the corporation benefits, right? And then what does that do? Well, that puts you into a little bit of a different income tax situation. Do you withhold for income taxes? Do you pay taxes quarterly? If you don't have a corporation, you probably don't. If you do have a corporation, you probably should. Again, this is not tax advice. This is my opinion, my best practice. Don't take tax advice from me. Call your CPA. That's the person you should talk to. But if you find out at least what's my tax bracket, and at what threshold do I hit the next tax bracket? Because it tiers, right? I don't know where it starts and I don't know where it ends. But, your first X number of dollars is going to be this bracket. When you make more, it goes to this bracket. When you make more, that additional amount goes to this bracket. Then the additional amount goes to this one, and your tax bracket continues to go up. To find out what tax bracket am I shooting for in 2025, your CPA or accountant should have a pretty good idea of where you're going to land in 2025 as of right now, right? And if they don't, well, you might want to get a different one. And you should probably be, consulting and looking at your revenue regularly. I think it makes sense, right? That being said, well, good news. We've gotten through everything here. So what do? You're going to hit submit. When you hit submit, it's going to tell you, your response has been recorded. Here's what it's going to look like right here. So I don't know how long. Might be 2 minutes. Might be 2 seconds. Might be 2 hours. I don't know. You're going to get something. You're going to get an email that says, congratulations, your business plan is done. Right? Now, what do you do with the business plan when you have it? You look at it, and you can refine it. Go through and refine it. If you don't like what you're reading, do it again. You have this one in front of you, or you have it, on your screen next to you, or I don't know if you want to print it, that's a lot of ink, but whatever you want to do. But you have this here. And if you say, well, I don't really like how this is, you can always change it. This isn't set in stone, right? I mean, this is just a digital version right here. You didn't waste anything but maybe whatever you're paying for your electric bill. A little bit of data, maybe a little bit of storage on your computer. That's it, right? So this is your business plan. What we're going to talk about at our next Ask the Broker. I'm not sure when that is going to be, but at our next Ask the Broker, we're going to talk about implementing this business plan. The math is already done. Everything's already done. So we're going to hit on each of these areas and help you figure out, okay, how do you implement it? Your business plan should be looked at weekly in the beginning so that it's up here. You now have your big goal, right? If you know that you want to make, $365 in a year, then you know that you need to make $1 a day. That's how you start, right? You reverse engineer your big goals. You start with the big goals, and it's going to reverse engineer those backwards for you, right? And, one of the quotes that we have in here is, it's very, logical, or, whatever, it ties to this. And it's that most people overestimate what they can do in 1 year, and they underestimate what they can do in 10 years. I guess that was Bill Gates. I already thought it was Tony Robbins, but I guess it's Bill Gates. I think Tony Robbins stole it from Bill Gates. But whatever it is, it doesn't matter who said it. But, just keep in mind, your goals should stretch you. They should pull you through. They shouldn't be so small that they're so easily attainable. But also, keep in mind, if you don't hit your 1 year goal, you can still hit your 10-year goals. What we tend to do is make big 1 year goals, and then we don't even think about 10 years down the road, or we set small 10-year goals. So maybe it should be, smaller 1 year goals that get you through to a bigger 10-year goal. We're all adults. I'm talking to my kids about goal setting. Goal setting never ends. You're never too old to set goals for yourself. You're never too old to make a plan for yourself. You're never too far gone to get starting and going, my God, I hate that picture. What the hell? But, just keep moving. Keep moving. I'll tell you, I'll make a prediction now. 2025, we can go off of that picture. 2025, came in. It was not great. Feels like 2025 is it's going to end well, I think, and I believe that that's going to roll over into 2026. All of 2025, I worked every single day in 2025. I worked. So what does that mean? What does that mean? That means that now, as the real estate market's starting to turn around, I'm getting the benefits from it, and I feel it. I am 150% getting the benefits of working through that slow market. And I told everybody, I said, now's the time to work. Everybody's quitting. Everybody's giving up. Nobody's working. Now's the time to work. Pick up your market share. And I am 100% picking up my market share in that work. 100%. Like you'll see it. You'll see it in my business. You look at what I'm doing right now. You'll see it. I'm not even working anymore. I don't even need to. Seriously, like the business just comes in. We set up so many automations, and we were telling everybody, set up your automations. Set up your automations. Grab 10 leads a day, set up your automations. We told everybody, do that. We've been doing it. And we're getting active lead, active lead, active lead, active lead, active lead. It's happening, right? If you've got the CRM with the leads in it, and you've been grabbing leads every day and setting up your automations, you're going to be you're getting the same results. And if you haven't, if your CRM, your CRM's sitting empty and everything, you've got 125,000 leads sitting in the pond that you could have grabbed at any given time, you could be dealing with active leads right now, right? This is one of my favorite forms right here, the Eisenhower Matrix. I absolutely love this. This right here will help you figure out your day. So what do? I live in my notebook. I absolutely live in my calendar. Right, my calendar tells me my appointments, but my notebook, I don't know if you guys can read all this, but you probably can. But you just see a bunch of writing and stuff crossed out. All you see on every single page. This note, and I dated at the top. This notebook, I started it March 20th, 2023. Every time I have something to do, I write it in this notebook. Every single time. Sunday night, when I'm preparing for my week, I brain dump into my notebook. And I might fill up an entire page of things to do starting on Monday. That doesn't mean I have to do everything on Monday. That means I have to get it done in the course of that week. I go back to the previous weeks. If I didn't cross it out and it wasn't done, I move it over to a new list when I start it over. And then I do a memory jog, right? Okay, who are my customers? Who are my leads? Who are my this? Who are my that? Who do I need to this? What do I have going on? And I do a memory jog, and then I brain dump onto that notebook. Then I can sleep at night. Because sometimes I'm laying in bed and I have to get out of bed so I can go write something down so I don't forget it, and it doesn't give me anxiety and keep me up all night that I might forget this important thing. But once it's in my notebook, I know I won't forget it. Now, Monday morning comes up, and I've got a whole list of stuff to do, and I'm like, where do I even start? Well, I start right here in the Eisenhower Matrix. And I look at it, and I think about, okay, so if you look at it, you've got 2 verticals and 2 horizontals in 4 boxes. So you've got important and urgent. You've got important, not urgent. Not important, urgent. Not important, not urgent. So what would you do first, right? Well, for me, actually, I start in the column. Urgent, important. Urgent, not important. Not urgent, not important. Not urgent, important. So I start with urgent and important, right? That means you do it right now. Urgent and important, right? Told you I'd do it at 9 a.m. I'm going to do it at 9 a.m. That's urgent and important because I said that I would. Then I would go to urgent and not important, right? Those things I can have somebody else do. I'll have a meeting in the morning and I'll say, here's the things that we need to get done. Get those done today. Now, the not urgent and important is probably the most important box that you have. Not urgent and important, right? These are things that you must schedule. Maybe it's taking a training. Maybe it's opening a high yield savings account. Maybe it's, selling your car. Maybe it's getting blood work done that your doctor told you to get 4 months ago that you've been putting it off, right? It's not urgent. It's not something that if you don't do it, there's some, immediate consequence, but it's important. The not urgent and important is what moves the needle in your life. It's what moves the needle in your business. It's what moves the needle in literally everything that you do, because it's not urgent, but it is important. So those are the things that take time, right? Those are the things that, and you can put them off, and you will put it off if you don't write it down. The not urgent needs to become urgent, but it can't become urgent until you take care of the urgent. And if it's things like your health, you don't want non-urgent to become urgent, because that might mean you didn't do your blood work and it turns out you had some blood clot, or I don't know, whatever the hell they would find in your blood, and next thing you know, you're in the ER. Well, that probably should have been urgent. Maybe it was urgent the whole time. The not urgent is what moves the needle. Seeing your family, calling your mom, right? It's not urgent to call your mom, but it's important. Call your mom, right? All of those things, those are the things that move the needle in your life. Those are the things that matter. And if it's not urgent and not important, then why the hell did you write it down? You don't need it. Not urgent, not important. I don't know what that is. I don't know. Right? You do. You know the things that you write down that are just time wasters. Right? But you can figure that out. But yeah, I love this. Memory jog, brain dump, Eisenhower matrix. That right there will give you clarity into your day. That will make all the difference on how you structure your day. Guaranteed. I love the Eisenhower matrix. It's one of my favorite tools. Whoever thought of this was a genius. Maybe it was Eisenhower. I don't know. Or maybe it was Keanu Reeves from Matrix. I don't know. Okay. All right. Any other slides, Irene?
Nope. We're cool.
All right. That's it. Anybody got any questions? Any comments? Any hesitations? Any clarity? Anything? Anybody have something?
I just have a question about the PA. Where do you go to do that? The bank?
Your accountant or CPA can help you file the paperwork. It's just corporate paperwork.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, my brother-in-law does my taxes. I don't have a
all right. Well, pop in with us one day. We might be able to help you. It's not very hard. Creating a corporation, once you've created like one or two, it's really super easy. So, but the thing that people miss with the PA that I was emphasizing, once you have the PA, right, you have your EIN, you have all that, it's all done, and then you have your corporate structure. Once you have the PA, you have to make sure then you have to register that PA to DBPR. So, if your name is John Smith, you're John Smith on DBPR. Your PA's name would be John Smith, PA. And then you have to register that at DBPR so that us as the real estate broker can pay your money directly to your PA. But pop in with us. Well, we can help you out. That's not a problem. We can get you some guidance and kind of help you figure that out.
Okay.
We may even have a checklist on it, but I don't know. Again, we really can't give tax advice. Yeah, how to run your business like a business. That was, that's all about everything that you should do. If you're a real estate agent and being a real estate agent, you really are a business. You should run your business like a business, right? Legal entities, get an EIN, incorporate, right? S corp, business account. All of those things those are things that, if you say, well, I'm a business owner, well, you should have all of those. Otherwise, I don't know, are you really a business owner? And the cool thing is, on an accounting note, our back office system, if you have QuickBooks Online, our back office system will push all of your real estate numbers directly into QuickBooks Online. So,
oh, all right. Well, I don't have that.
Well, if you did.
Okay.
Yeah, if you did. But yeah, if we can help you, just pop into the lobby room. We're happy to help. So.
Okay. Thanks, Joe.
No problem. Anybody else have any questions, thoughts, concerns? Something that I got wrong? Something that we can do better? Something that we should have had in there but didn't have in there? All right, we got it perfect then. All right, well, that's it, folks. Be sure. Well, next week is going to be our round table. It's not next week is not October 21st. I don't know what next week. I think it's October 18th, 2025. We're going to have a round table business mastermind, and that's where bring your topics, bring your issues, bring your victories, bring your defeats. We're going to talk about whatever it is you want to talk about. If you want to talk about starting a PA, that'd be the time to talk about starting a PA, and maybe we can get a little bit more in depth into that. If you want to talk more about this business plan, we can talk more about this business plan. It doesn't really matter. Whatever you guys want to talk about, that's what we talk about. Bring us some topics. That's what we need. That's every first and third Tuesday. And the week after that, I don't know if we're going to have the Ask the Broker because it's Thanksgiving week. My feeling is we probably might, maybe, possibly not have it. but then we probably maybe might possibly have it. So I don't really know. But our next Ask the Broker is going to be about business planning. In the meantime, please, 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 please do the business plan. We've made it as easy as absolutely possible. Look at it at least one time. Look at it at least one time. That's all you got to do. You only have to look at it one time. I don't care, right? Just look at it one time and you're doing better than probably most, because most people don't even have a business plan. At least do it. Look at it once. If you want to look at it weekly, that would be amazing. That's going to help you to know if you're on track for your goals or not. But our next Ask the Broker is going to be, tips and tricks on implementing and putting your business plan into actual effect. So that's going to be our next one. That might be the second week of December, honestly, but that's okay, right? And just remember, just like I said earlier this year, when it was slow and nobody was doing anything, that now's the time to be working so that you can pick up that market share. And those that did work are now picking up the market share. It's the same thing for the holidays. When people slow down through the holidays, and everybody does it, even myself, it sucks. Even when I tell myself I'm not going to, I slow down during the holidays. But the person that can keep working through the holidays and keep doing the things for the holidays, you're going to pick up that much more market share, right? You might get one more customer that you didn't have otherwise, because there's just a few less people working, so you have a little bit higher likelihood and possibility of converting that lead. So that's it. Don't stay stuck. Pop in the lobby room, call me, text me, email me, whatever you want to do. Thank you, everybody, for being here. We're happy to have you. Can't stress enough. I hope I see you in the lobby room. All right, guys, take care. Have a good one.
Thanks, Joe.